You are listening to Dragon Slayer Azeviche by Silvio Spati. Chapter 1, Part 2.
The frigid, biting wind of the afternoon had already descended upon muddy peaks. Azeviche lay unconscious on the ground, and Marcus was urgently calling for assistance. He felt lost, unsure of what to do next. He lightly tapped her cheeks, attempting in vain to rouse her. Jonas Grinmald and his team swiftly rushed to their aid, eager to lend any assistance they could. "What's happened to her, Mr. Marcus?" inquired Jonas. There seemed to be no apparent reason for a young girl to collapse like this after a train journey. With over 30 years of service, Jonas had never encountered a situation he couldn't handle, and this wouldn't be the first. "Jonas, she was under tremendous stress, and she just passed out in my arms," Marcus explained, his voice quivering. Azeviche resembled a sleeping infant cradled in his embrace. "Come now, Mr. Marcus, let's bring her inside so we can look after her. I believe she's simply exhausted from her 30-day journey. It may not seem like much, but it's an incredibly draining trip, sir," Jonas assured, trying to ease Marcus's anxiety. Marcus carefully carried her, following Jonas as he pointed toward a green doorway leading to a private service room. "Please, let's step inside, Mr. Marcus. I have just what we need." They entered the small room, evidently used to store brooms, cleaning supplies, and various maintenance equipment for the station. With great care, Marcus gently placed Azeviche on a sturdy table in the center of the room. His actions were meticulous, akin to someone accustomed to dealing with delicate matters. He gently set the fragile young girl on the table as though she were a precious, delicate artifact, improvising a towel as a pillow. She rested there tranquilly, evoking the image of someone in peaceful slumber. Finally, the weight of responsibility began to press upon the shoulders of this first-time father. Yes, now he was entrusted with the care of a child. And this changed everything. His life would never be the same again, and he could feel it deep within his being. Suddenly, an icy sensation gripped his neck. His mouth went dry, and a void seemed to churn in his stomach. He cried out, "What if she never wakes up? I can't bear that thought, Jonah. Please do something." Jonas, barely holding back his laughter, reached for a large bottle of cleaning product labeled bleach. "Oh, what's this?" Marcus asked, still holding Azeviche's head. "Now, Marcus, try to calm yourself. Are you sure you're the veteran who fought in the 100 Days War? Pull yourself together," Jonas advised. "Just watch and learn," Jonas retorted. He cautiously brought the noxious product's lid near Azeviche's tiny nostrils. "This should just—" Jonas couldn't finish his sentence. Azeviche let out a shriek so hysterical that it seemed like the end of the world, startling the entire village of muddy peaks. "They're going to kill us all! Fight!" Jonas and Marcus sat frozen, staring in astonishment at Azeviche, who remained seated at the table with wide, distant eyes, as if witnessing a horrifying spectacle. Jonas shook his head, feeling sympathy for the traumatized girl. Why would they send a child in this state to a place like this? He wondered aloud to Marcus. "I've never seen anything quite like this before." The two men were stationed in Muddy Peaks, a continental island where the army had successfully repelled an attack by the Draconites. Now, it served as a bastion, a place where people kept a vigilant watch on the border to prevent the alien race from overrunning the rest of the world. "This may appear mundane now, but the capital keeps sending scores of children to settle here," Jonas explained. "Scores of them, Marcus." Marcus approached Azeviche and tenderly touched her face, attempting to rouse her from her trance. "Azeviche, please snap out of it, my dear. Can you hear me?" he implored, but she remained unresponsive. "Could she be in some kind of coma? We've tried almost everything," Jonas remarked, looking to Marcus for guidance. "This situation calls for drastic measures." Marcus nodded, uncertain of what to expect as Jonas took charge and pushed him aside. With a swift, loud slap to Azeviche's face, Jonas shouted, "Azeviche, wake up!" To their immense relief, Azeviche stirred, her eyelids fluttering open. "Someone, help me," she mumbled before drifting off once more. "She's back, Marcus, she's back," Jonas exclaimed, a wide smile spreading across his face as he gently touched Azeviche's shoulders. "Azeviche, can you hear me? Are you all right?" But Azeviche appeared unfazed by the unsettling incident in Muddy Peaks, seemingly unaware that she had lost consciousness. "Oh, I must have dozed off. It was quite a journey, you know. I'm really tired." She blinked and rubbed her eyes. "Are we going home now?" She looked at Marcus. "Yes, no need to worry about a thing," Marcus assured her, wiping sweat from his brow. "We have a lovely room with a cozy bed waiting for you at home, and a delightful dinner is ready. Let's head home," he said, smiling at her with amazement that she was all right. He gently tousled her hair. "Home, you say?" "Absolutely." Jonas hurried them out of the room, wiping his perspiring forehead and checking his pocket watch. He had a station to manage. Azeviche shook her head, attempting to make sense of what had transpired. Her entire body ached, and she wondered if she had caught the flu or something similar. After all, Muddy Peaks was a chilly place, and winter was approaching. She pondered if chocolate cake would be on the dinner menu. At that moment, the only thing occupying her thoughts was the persistent weariness brought on by the long journey, and the prospect of a restful night's sleep seemed absolutely divine. Scanning the platform, Azeviche searched for her suitcase, which held all her belongings. Yawning and stretching her arms, she appeared more concerned than ever. "Now where's my suitcase? Everything I own is in there. Where is it?" she inquired, hands on her hips, looking rather preoccupied. Miles, a 16-year-old linesman, came hurrying over, holding her suitcase. "Here it is, miss. Still untouched, I assure you," he stated. "Ah, finally, a gentleman in this town. Thank you kindly, Mr. she asked. "Miles," the boy replied, barely suppressing his laughter at her peculiar manner of speaking. "Well, allow me to take that for you. It's late, and we must get going on our way home. Rana is eagerly awaiting our arrival," Marcus said, taking the suitcase. "Farewell, and thank you for everything, Mr. Jonas." Marcus nodded. "Oh, just another day in paradise, Marcus, until we meet again." Jonas adjusted his silvery whiskers, waving them goodbye. As they passed through the imposing gates of the station, Marcus embraced his daughter, and together they disappeared into the chill mist that had begun to rise from the mountains, signaling the onset of night. The purple sun caressed the horizon as a dark curtain adorned with blue stars descended overhead. They boarded a modest buckwagon, drawn by an aged brown horse, and slowly made their way home. The small wagon, carrying Marcus and Azeviche, meandered along the dirt roads, winding through the pine trees whose branches had withered in the cold. Delicate snowflakes descended upon the boughs, painting a picturesque scene of the rustic landscape. In Muddy Peaks, when night descended, the townsfolk sought refuge in their cozy abodes or gathered at the local tavern to sip brandy and warm their throats. With winter approaching, the workload intensified, as the impending snowfall would soon blanket the roads and envelop the city in frigid silence. Azeviche's discerning eyes surveyed the terrain as the modest carriage ascended a hill. Marcus halted the wagon, and they both paused to admire the vista. From this vantage point, they beheld the majestic mountains and a river meandering through the valley like a sinuous blue serpent, mirroring the moon's ethereal glow. Along the way, the remnants of ancient vehicles used in the 100 Days war lay scattered, resembling weathered sculptures. Nature had reclaimed them, transforming once mighty machines into rust-covered relics, blending metal and verdant growth in a harmonious embrace. The girl noticed a warm yellow glow emanating from a house's window, and the chimney's plume of smoke signified their sanctuary from the biting winds. Marcus nodded toward the house. "The Silver Sword Ranch. Your new home," he announced. Azeviche's eyes shimmered with joy as the torment of her arduous journey began to dissipate. Destiny had unlocked a new door, offering the promise of a nobler life. They continued through the gates, and from the winding path leading to the grand house, they spotted 2 women eagerly awaiting their arrival. "Look, Rana and Agnes are here to welcome us," Marcus informed Azeviche. Both women, anxious and fraught with worry, rushed toward the newcomers. Weariness etched across Marcus's face, signaling the considerable delay in their journey. "Here we are," he reassured them. Rana could discern the fatigue in his countenance. "Rana, I hope you've prepared a warm meal for us, dear," he remarked, patting his stomach. "Of course, we have. But won't you introduce us to this fine young lady?" Rana inquired with a lovely smile. Always gracious and charming, she extended her hand to Azeviche. "Here, let me assist you out of the wagon," she offered, smiling warmly. "Good evening. I'm Azeviche Jet. I'm your new daughter," she declared with a salute and a grin. "My goodness, you're quite direct, aren't you?" Rana chuckled. "Oh, indeed," Marcus chimed in, while Rana instantly felt a strong connection with Azeviche Jet, the raven-haired spirited child. "Two names for the same black gemstone. Quite intriguing," she commented, gently placing her hand on Azeviche's shoulder. "Oh, maybe it's because you have—" But before Rana could finish her sentence, Azeviche completed, "Yes, it's because of my long dark hair resembling the night that they bestowed upon me such an intriguing name." Rana let out a laugh when she heard Azeviche's pompous way of speaking. "However, none can compare in beauty to yours, fiery as the flames," she remarked, turning to Rana. "With the impending blizzard, a warm fire is exactly what I desire." Rana and Agnes shared a laugh at her words. Rana took Azeviche's hands and playfully shook her arms. "Well, I must say you're the most charming child. Welcome to our home. You're home now. The fire and the meal await all of us," Rana declared warmly. "Well, it awaits all of us indeed," Agnes chimed in with a grin. "I'm starving too. Marcus, you're late. Of course you had to stop and chat with that old Jonas," Agnes scolded him, affectionately mocking the station's elder inspector. "The king of the station he fancies himself," Marcus replied with a hint of amusement, though an old fart, Agnes laughed. "Mom, old fart? We have a child in the house now," Rana gently reminded them, ushering everyone inside the house. "Come on, dinner is waiting at the table." As they made their way inside, Azeviche looked at Marcus and giggled, saying, "They both said fart," and they all laughed together before closing the door behind them. It was a warm and heartwarming reception, exceeding Azeviche's expectations. Finally, she had a roof over her head, and the flickering fire in the fireplace filled the cozy living room with a golden glow, making Azeviche feel safer and more cherished than she had ever felt in her entire life.
Thank you. You've just listened to Dragon Slayer Azeviche. Chapter 1, Part 2. If you like our audiobook, subscribe and hit the bell to know when new chapters are posted.